Hey, good evening. What's up? This is the Leafs Convo for Oak Ridge Ford in London, Ontario. OakRidgeFord.com. Price hikes are on the way in May. It rhymes and it should resonate with you. If you're looking for a vehicle, now is the time. Don't wait until we get into spring officially. Do it right now and do it through me at Norman Oak Ridge Ford. Low interest rates, and we can skirt the price hikes that are definitely coming. All of the tariffs, the taxes, etc., causing the manufacturers to inflate their prices. So come to see me and we'll get ahead of the game together. Speaking of games, a couple of games going on right now to open up the Stanley Cup playoffs. The Leafs and Senators get going on Sunday night, game one at Scotiabank Arena. Mike, I can't wait to get your predictions. How are you feeling on the eve of this series opener?
Well, I'm feeling kind of tired because I've been at the KeyBank Center all day for the longest locker cleanout in the history of man. It seems that every team that missed the playoffs decided to split locker cleanout between 2 days. But thankfully, I'll get a good night's sleep, a good Easter Sunday dinner, and then sit down and worry about what Maple Leaf team shows up. And that's the big question, because going into this playoffs, there's a lot of anticipation. This team is not the Toronto Maple Leafs teams of the past. Okay, show me.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I need. I mean, it would be nice to see, but until I see it, I won't believe it.
This is the Leafs Convo for Oak Ridge Ford in London, Ontario. Like the content, subscribe to the channel. Just for the record, it is Saturday, April 19th. No Sunday spectacular tomorrow morning. We'll do a post-game after game one, Leafs Senators. How will it shake out? Well, I'm thinking it's going to be frenetic and it's going to be wild, Mike. If it gets to a point where it's just nearly out of control, and I'm not necessarily saying that there's going to be fisticuffs flying or whistles blown or players being tossed out, but if it just becomes a bit of a dog's breakfast and then it continues on, which team gets the advantage if it's a bit of a circus-like atmosphere and continues throughout the series?
I think that plays into Ottawa's hands because they have more rats. They call the Orkin Man because, you got Ridley Gregg, you've got Pinto. Brady Tkachuk is not a rat. He's a great player, but he's a disruptor and a destructor.
And he's in.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think they set him in the third period of the final game just to make sure. I think they were testing out the first two periods, and then they were being better safe than sorry. In the third period, they didn't want to risk him getting hurt in a meaningless game. So, he'll be in. But I think, you've got Nick Cousins, who's, the king rat. Mm-hmm. And we saw him in his act when Florida played the Leafs a couple years ago. So, I think that if it becomes, as you said, a dog's breakfast, to use our favorite Bill Waters phrase, I think it plays into the hands of the Senators because they're the less talented team. That doesn't mean that they can't win, but they have to disrupt and get underneath the skin of the Maple Leafs, force the Leafs to take stupid penalties in response. And we know, it's never the initial act. It's always the response. And if they respond, and they shouldn't, because they're playoff tested. They have enough experience that they should realize that, don't do that. Let them eventually Ottawa will take a stupid penalty, and then the Leafs power play, which has been good, can get, an opening goal or can swing the game. But yeah, I think if it becomes that chaotic event, then I think it plays into the Senators' hands.
Like the content, subscribe to the channels. OG's Converts, thanks for being here. Watch us on TikTok. If you're on that platform, follow us too. Our followers grow all the time. For me, it's just about more eyeballs on the clips and content that Mike and I produce right here on the channel. Anything you guys could do to help support that, we appreciate that very much. The Sens beat the Leafs in all 3 regular season games this past season. Should they feel good about continuing that run of success in the playoffs, or would you rather be in the Leafs position? You know what? They haven't really shown up against this team that they call provincial rivals. There's no better time than to do it in the postseason.
Well, you can look at it two ways. I mean, the Leafs, the regular season matchups should be a cautionary tale to the Leafs. You did not match the effort of the Senators in every game that you played against them. It was the Battle of Ontario, and to the Leafs, it was a Tuesday night in November. And now it's the playoffs, so there should not be any question of effort. Mm-hmm. Both teams should be balls out, and if they're balls out, then the Leafs should win that game. But we don't know. That's the whole thing. It's like and they could be choked by caution. They could, they're playing in front of their home crowd. They've won the Atlantic Division for the first time. They're the presumptive favorite. The only thing that is sort of bleeding through things right now is the fact that the Leafs have a history of not showing up in the postseason. And right. If they don't show up in game one, then it's going to be panic in the streets. It's going to be, go to hope that the emergency rooms in the GTA are stocked up on nitroglycerin pills because everybody's going to be having a friggin' heart attack. And they might be right to, because if the team can't get up in game one, then, what the hell is the problem here?
Wilfred Whiskey, the Leafs are on a roll with confidence. Damn right they are, but this is the second season. They could win 10 straight, go into the playoffs, and lose in 5. They've never been able to continue regular season success into when it counts the most, Mike. Yep. So the naysayers will expect a continuation of that futility. Those who want to believe, and we have every right to, considering the team we follow so closely just won the division, feel like maybe this is the year. And if you go on social media, there are all kinds of conspiracy theories and all kinds of different theories that you can sink your teeth into and feel good about regarding the Leafs going on a long run and maybe winning the Stanley Cup this year. But what's the difference between this year and years gone by, when those who have their head in the clouds when it comes to their favorite team believing that this is the damn year? I think we won't really know until we see this team hit the ice and get a real serious win and follow that up with another win. And then when the chips are down, come from behind and make something happen. It's one series at a time, and it's really just one game at a time. Imagine tomorrow night if the Leafs lose the opener, right? And you're talking about panic in the streets. Just imagine that. I mean,
I don't have to imagine it. I've seen it happen before.
I feel like they've got to win tomorrow night. They have to assert themselves straight away. Whether this goes 5, 6, 7, it's a sweep. They have to win tomorrow night to give the fans an indication that they are for real this time.
We know that, and we've said it, and it's not a trite comment, that the playoffs and the regular season are two vastly different seasons.
Right.
You want the example of that. We're recording this in the middle of the second period in a series between the President's Trophy winning Winnipeg Jets and St. Louis, with the goaltender who's going to win the Vezina, who could win the Hart Trophy, in Connor Hellebuck.
Right.
And he's given up 3 goals on 12 shots. It's different. I don't care how good the Leafs played. They could look like the biggest world beaters in the world.
Right.
That's world beaters in the world. There you go, Mike. But they could be the biggest ones, and it won't matter if all of a sudden Tim Stützle scores a goal 5 minutes into the first period. Then every butt in the Scotiabank Arena, their sphincter will be tightening up like a drum.
Right.
So
they're not going to win a Stanley Cup playing with the advantage and leverage every single minute of this tournament, Mike. I mean, they're going to be behind the 8 ball. It's going to feel like it's all going to fall apart. They have to find a way to prove to themselves that they're capable of doing this. And it's just one win after another, one series victory after another. And it all starts tomorrow night. Like the content, subscribe to the channel. The power play is going to be massive, Mike. The Leafs 9th in the league after 82 games, around 25%. We want more when they have the man advantage, and they're certainly going to have to produce. Ottawa, not too much of a slouch, couple positions further down, about a percentage point less on the power play than the Maple Leafs. So both teams relatively adequate. Juxtapose that with being bottom half penalty kill teams. Um, the opportunity is ripe for the picking for both clubs, especially if the Leafs start to lose their nerve.
Well, I mean, we know with the Leafs, the power play turned around in the second half when they went to the 5-forward power play. It doesn't appear that they're going to change from that. I'm a little fearful of that simply because even though, Mitch Marner is a good defensive forward, he's not a defenseman. And, they're prioritizing dynamic offense with on the power play with the sacrifice of a little bit of defense in case the other team in case Ottawa goes the other way. I get that, but a shorthanded goal in a playoff scenario is an absolute killer. So I'm not saying that they're going to change and put Morgan Riley on the point, but if they give up a shorthanded goal, that is going to be the disaster scenario in one particular, it could be, if they're up and they can absorb that, then it's fine. But if they're tied in a game and they have a power play and they give up a shorthanded goal, that could be the difference in a game, winning or losing a game. So I'm a little fearful that the penalty killing has been. Now, this is the thing that I think that they need to manage is during the regular season, the first shift of every penalty kill was Matthews and Marner. You've got to manage their minutes. If they're going to be top line, top power play, top PK, that's too much, especially with the wear and tear and the physical beating they're likely to take from the Senators. I don't know whether that means you put Marner out there with David Kampf or you mix in Lawton more. You need to kill penalties, and they're the most effective penalty killers because of the fact that the other team is scared that They're going to go the other way. But you have to manage their minutes and manage them correctly.
There's a lot to unpack here, Mike, and we don't have too much time. You've got to get on with other things. I mean, it is Easter long weekend. All the best to your family, Mike.
Thank you.
There's just a lot of unknowns here. Will the Leafs, like Matthews and Marner and Tavares, Nylander, will they be able to take the punishment? And will they be able to take it for a sustained, prolonged period, meaning, period in, period out, game in, game out for the entirety of a series? Are they mentally, physically, you think they're capable, but are they mentally prepared to deal with the antagonizing that Ottawa will have to inflict if it's going to get anywhere?
Well, I mean, that is the $64,000 question. I mean, I know that a lot of people don't like when Austin Matthews sort of smiles or smirks at somebody, who's trying to cheap shot him and maybe goad him into a penalty and he just smiles. I mean, honestly, I don't want Austin Matthews to get into a fight. I don't think you really want him to respond in kind. Again, like I said, sometimes the response is what gets the penalty. So, but they're going to have to be disciplined.
Especially that's either, Mike. This is war. This is where we know the tougher team that takes advantage of its opportunities typically wins. Name one Stanley Cup champion that was also entered in the ice capades. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I hear what you're saying, but I also, the Leafs, because their penalty killing has not been top notch, they've got to manage themselves and not take stupid penalties, especially against a team that is going to try to draw you in. Ridley Grigg is a pest.
Right.
Shane Pinto is a pest. Nick Cousin is a rat of the highest order. They're going to try to draw you into crap. Brady Tkachuk is going to I'm not saying he's going to run people from behind, but he's going to run them. He's one of the most physical players in the league. He's going to be physical.
Right.
Now you can't respond with that physicality by slashing them on the wrist, because then you're going to get the penalty if you're the Leafs. So Wilford says, Nyes, McMahon's, Pacioretty, they have to chip in physicality. I agree with that, but you want Nyes to not take himself out of the game that has been effective this year, which has been as a compliment to Matthews and Marner. So I think that, again, they will have to not turn the other cheek, not get pushed around, but maybe initiate physicality. Maybe Jake McCabe, who will be back in the lineup, maybe Bobby McMahon, maybe Matt Pacioretty, who will be back in the lineup. They need to hit first and get Ottawa to respond.
Guys like Matthews, Marner, Nylander, they're at their best when they have space to offer. Absolutely phenomenal. That space will have shrunk incredibly beginning in game one.
Exactly.
Question, I know you hated the Four Nations event, but how do you think their experiences there, I'm talking about Marner and Matthews, who made it all the way to the final, may impact them positively when the puck drops tomorrow night?
I don't think it's going to translate at all. I mean, great Marner.
Hockey though, Mike.
No, it's not the same. It isn't. It just isn't. Now, I'll just say, Marner played great playing with McDavid.
But it was intense. It was next goal wins kind of stuff.
I get it, but
how is that not going to translate positively to what they want to accomplish in this series with the Senators?
Because there was nothing. I mean, okay, there was national pride in what I say is a meaningless tournament. It may be meaningful to some fans, but in terms of, Mitch Marner's got millions of dollars riding on his success or failure in this playoffs. If he plays really well, he's going to make big money in Toronto or someplace else. If he doesn't, if he proves that he's a choker like he's been for most of the last few years, there'll be some teams that still pay him, but they won't pay him as much. So I think he's got a lot, and it's not, the red and white of Canada. It's the green of the US dollar or the multicolor of the Canadian dollar.
Okay, so this group, Matthews, Marner, Tavares, and Nylander, has combined for one playoff win in 9-10 years.
Right.
The narrative outside of the dressing room is that if the Leafs don't show signs of success, and we're talking about 1, 2, 3 rounds with this group during these playoffs, there are going to be some major changes. Do you think the personnel in that dressing room feel what the rest of us are thinking?
Yes, and I think that contributes
to work to their advantage. You think they'll rise above and rise to the occasion to a better degree than they've achieved in the past?
No, I don't. I don't know, Norm, but if I base it on, the greatest predictor of future behavior is past behavior, then no, I don't believe it.
Right.
And Wilford is right. Marner has looked really good this year.
Yeah.
He scored 99 points before. He scored 100 this year.
Right.
Doesn't matter.
Right.
Game 1 is the start of the real season. Games 1 through 82 was a tune-up.
I'm going to channel my inner Ridley Grigg, and I feel disgusting even bringing this up, but I'm going to be a bit of an agitator with a little help from our friend Michael Matthews on his boat in the Caribbean or wherever the hell he is.
Yeah.
Okay, the lineup that takes the ice to the beat of DJ Ryan Reeves' set list. Who will it be, Mike? Are we missing anybody? Is Jake McCabe going to be back, or is it Anthony Stolar starting? Tell us who's going to be the on the ice for the puck drop.
The indicator is that McCabe will be in the lineup. Now, I have not seen anything regarding Oliver Ekman-Larsson, so that may mean that he sits out game 1. You don't want to bring him back too early and then have him take a hit and then be out longer. So it sounds like McCabe will be back, so that means McCabe and Tanev. That means Riley and Carlo, and that means a bottom pairing of Benoit and Philippe Myers. Now, if OEL, if he was interviewed and says that he's okay to go, then they were just being careful, and that definitely will be an upgrade. But we have to hope that they're healthy enough to not take one hit and be out of the lineup. Stolarz is the starter in game one. It sounds like Pacioretty will be in the lineup. It sounds like, according to, I think it was Jonas Siegel that reported, Nick Robertson was on the second power play at practice today. So if he's operating on the second power play, then he's in the lineup. So
what do you think about that? Is he have we seen from him what we think he can provide, even in a small extent and degree when the playoffs begin?
He has not been the liability that he has been in the past defensively. He has shown some sandpaper and, I think a little pushback, which is necessary. Remember, this is a team that a couple of years ago he got severely injured against. So he's going to have to keep his head on a swivel. He's not the player of a few years ago where every time he got hit really badly, he was out. I think he's built himself up physically. He's a stronger player now than he was.
Sorry, Mike, he's going to the physicality now. He's engaging in it.
Right. I think that, and that's what I'm saying. I think he's showing a little bit of pushback. But
thing more than it is a physical thing. I mean, if he was trying to avoid it and now he's just like, screw it, I'm just going to go for it, because he was laying bodies all over the place in the last few games.
No, I think it's a physical thing. I think he's a stronger player.
Right.
I think he has been less of a target because he's been initiating. But now, the fact that he scored some key goals down the stretch, the fact that he scored a goal against Buffalo, and we know he's got a big shot, and we know that these games could come down to a goal from the third or fourth line. So I think that's the reason why he will be in the lineup for game one. Whether he stays in the lineup will depend on how much he contributes, and whether Ottawa takes advantage of him if he does make a defensive mistake or take a penalty.
OG Chris Daniels talking about Domi is going to have a hell of a series. Is this the kind of event a player like Max Domi can thrive in?
Yes. I mean, he was one of the best Leafs last year against Boston. He was physical. If somebody like Ridley Gregg or Nick Cousins steps out of line, Max Domi has shown more than a few times this year that he doesn't hesitate to drop the gloves. And, they're all those players that I mentioned are sort of middleweights. They're not heavyweights. There isn't a heavyweight in this lineup, in either lineup. So it may come down to Max Domi being the guy who shows the pushback.
OG's converts. We have a poll right now. YouTube.com/the Leafs Convo. If you go to posts, it was uploaded a few hours ago. Leafs Convo poll, be honest, who wins this series? Just over 50 votes, Mike. 89% say the Maple Leafs. Now, let me tee you up here. The Sens swept the season series with the Maple Leafs. But if you break it down, the Leafs have better forwards. They have a better defensive group. When it comes to net minding, Stolarz probably did better this year, but Allmark's got experience in the playoffs. 89% of the OGs and converts who voted at youtube.com/Leafs Convo believe the Leafs will beat the Senators. To finish the show tonight, our last show before the playoffs begin, Mr. Augello, what is your prediction? Leafs Senators 2025 Stanley Cup playoffs.
I hope I'm wrong, but I'm taking the Senators in 7 games.
Why?
Because the Leafs have not proven they can beat them. And the Leafs have not proven that they can win in the playoffs.
Have the Senators?
No, but they haven't been in the playoffs. And, sometimes it's better to come in as sort of a neophyte and, not have. And, believe me, the Senators are playing with house money. So is Montreal. But, I mean, I don't think they're going to beat Washington. But, again, they score 1 goal in the first period, and everybody, including the Leafs, might start to say, oh, boy, here we go again.
Right.
The Leafs got to jump on them. They got to get up. They got to stay physical. They got to stay positive. That's a tough chore, and especially in front of a crowd that is, I think, confident but also filled with apprehension.
Right.
So I am saying Senators in 7, but I hope I'm wrong.
Wilfred Witzke, we love him. Wilfred, are you an OG? I don't even know. You're around all the time. So tonight, you're anointed one if I haven't done so already. Oh, crow doesn't taste good. So what he's suggesting, Mike, is that you're going to be wrong. And for the record, this is recorded. We are often taken out of context because people listen to a clip for a couple of seconds and then jump on it without, listening to the entire clip and how, we've broken things down. But for the record, you don't want the Leafs to lose. You're just predicting them to lose because that is just your nature. And
no, it's okay. I'm not doing this out of superstition or
right.
because it's my nature. I'm doing it because I think that's what's going to happen because it has not been proven otherwise.
Pessimism is part of your makeup, Mike. And you have good reason to feel that way as a sports fan outside of what goes on with your New York Yankees. That it?
Yeah, I didn't pick the Yankees to win the World Series last year, but I did pick them to win every series up to that.
Right.
So, no, I mean, it's a Leafs and a Bills thing. And like I said, I'm right most of the time. So I hope I'm wrong, but I wouldn't make the prediction if I didn't think I was going to be right.
OG's converts, go to the YouTube page right now, /Leafs Convo /post, vote. Leafs Convo poll. Be honest, who wins this series? 89% of you, as of right now, believe it's going to be the Maple Leafs. We know Mike would be one of the 11%, but it's not because he wants the Leafs to lose. It's just they haven't shown him that they have the capability of winning. But it's going to be shift by shift, Mike, period by period, game by game, and hopefully, ultimately, series by series, that the Leafs start breaking down all of the negativity that surrounds them and their previous playoff experiences, breaking through into a new set of circumstances that may ultimately lead to success when it really, really counts. And that's sometime in June. We'll be here for it. Bookmark it, guys. Tomorrow after game 1, Mike and I will be doing a post-game show. Will we do a post-game after every single game of the series? Maybe, maybe not, but jump on with us tomorrow night. I know there's going to be a lot going on, all kinds of podcasts, all kinds of post-game. Have us in the background. You can, I guess, immerse yourself in all sorts of media, but make us front and center. For Mr. Augello, I'm Norm James. We're on the eve of Leafs Senators. Can't wait for it. We'll see you tomorrow night. The Leafs Convo for Oak Ridge Ford is out.